Hey guys, this is the unapologetic apologist here again. I saw this earlier in the day and I could not help but comment on it here. So this post I saw earlier in the day said that Iraq passes a law lowering the legal age of marriage for girls from 18 to 9. The new personal law or personal status law makes it possible for Sharia or Shia religious authorities of the Jafari school of Islamic law to conduct marriage to girls as young as 9. Now, you guys are probably looking at this and thinking, oh, this is terrible. This is awful. Why would they do this to these girls? Why would they even allow this in these nations? Well, in case you guys aren't aware, Iraq is a Muslim majority country, and their parliament and who's running their country is all pretty much mostly, if not all, Muslims. And when that happens, they normally run things under Sharia law. Now, again, you guys are probably wondering, okay, well, why is this even a thing in the first place? Well, let me show you here. All right, so what we have here, we're in the Quran. This is chapter 65, verse 4. And basically, so they give the context here. It's talking about if a woman gets divorced, when can you remarry that person? So they just freshly got divorced. All right, I see this person got divorced. I want to marry him. How long do I have to wait? So if you look here in the beginning, and for those of your women as have passed the age of monthly courses, so they're pubescent, they have periods, they're past the age of puberty. For them, the iddah, prescribed period, if you have doubt about their periods, is 3 months. Now, this is where it gets really concerning, is right here, this next line. And for those who have no courses, i.e., they are still immature, so they're prepubescent, they have not had periods, no courses, their iddah is 3 months likewise, except in the case of death. So, what's crazy here is, think about what's going on. A prepubescent girl had already been married to a Muslim, and they could be divorced and remarried in 3 months. So you're probably wondering, all right, why was this prepubescent girl even be allowed to be married in the first place? Well, that's where things get real interesting here. All right, so in Sahih al-Bukhari, so this is, like I said in the previous video, one of the authoritative sources for the sayings of Mohammed. If you want to go somewhere for a really authentic source or a really authentic place to see, like, okay, what did Muhammad say? This is normally the one that the Muslims will point you to, where it's, like I said, one of the most authoritative ones. So in 5133, so this is basically the commentary on verse 65, or chapter 65, verse 4, when it talks about when it talks about having their no monthly courses, i.e. they're still immature. And then if you notice the chapter heading, giving one's young children in marriage is permissible. So this is basically explaining why you're able to do this. Why in the Quran does it say that you're able to give one's young children in marriage, and why you're able to divorce them, everything like that? So it was narrated, Aisha, that the Prophet wrote the marriage contract when she was 6 years old. 6 years old. Muhammad married Aisha when she was 6 years old. And he consummated his marriage when she was 9 years old, and then remained with him for 9 years, i.e. until his death. So, again, think about what's going on here. The reason why Muslims are able to marry young children, prepubescent, again, young children is permissible, so it's prepubescent before they're still immature. The reason why they're able to marry young children is because Muhammad married a 6-year-old and then proceeded to climb on top of her when she was 9 to consummate the marriage. So when we see things, in Muslim majority countries or throughout history, Muslim nations and Muslim communities doing this to young children, there's a reason why. Their false prophet Muhammad thought it was a good idea to climb on top of a 9-year-old and had to justify it somehow. So he said, "Oh, I have a revelation. You can men can marry and divorce prepubescent girls, and it's okay. It's by Allah." Well, that's a huge problem, especially if you are a Christian or pretty much anybody with any, had any influence from being in a Western nation, because Jesus had very strong words to say about people who did this to young children. All right, so in Mark chapter 9, verse 42, said, "Whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him if a great millstone were hung around his neck and he were thrown into the sea." So Jesus, had he been around in Muhammad's time, would say it would be better for this guy to have a millstone hung around his neck and thrown into the sea. Crazy stuff. You can't make this up.